Good morning. I'm David Nash. This is the Homeless Initiative Advisory Committee. We do not have a quorum today, and I think we're short a couple of folks. So we will not have an official meeting unless they show up, and then we can take action on things. But we're going to go ahead with an information session discussion to go through the items, at least a discussion of the items on the agenda. So welcome, everybody. I want to apologize and introduce a month late Lacey Hoyle, who joined us as the newest HIAC committee member from the county, a county appointee. She formerly worked at Homeward Bound, and I had an opportunity to work with her for a few weeks. She is diving deep into the process of planning for a new emergency shelter, and she's got a lot of energy and enthusiasm, so we welcome her to this committee.
Thank you. Welcome, ladies.
Is there a point in doing a roll call? I guess there may be. I'm here. David Bartholomew is here, Jamie Benshoff is here, Sarah Copley is here, Lacey Hoyle is here, Marcus Laws is here, and we are too short of a quorum. We will postpone action on the minutes until we either have a quorum or until next month. Our community value bullet point for this month is politics will not drive policies. The Continuum of Care's collective work will not be guided by optics or by short-term tactics, but rather by a sustained drive toward the stated goals.
David, can you give an example of that? That doesn't feel
Hey,
clear.
can you speak into your mic?
Mic up.
Can you give an example of that? That isn't clear for me.
Well, I think the closest example that comes to mind, and I think obviously there are many political decisions in the world. What we tend to have in homeless services and coordination of homeless programs is not in my backyard response from the public to the idea of a new shelter or a new program in their community. And I think that's a highly politically charged discussion when it comes up. So I think that is one example where we should not let our goals be deterred by reaction. Of course, we need to listen to neighborhood concerns and find ways to address them, but we don't need to make sure that the political element of that type of discussion doesn't guide our process.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion about the community value? All right, Emily, strategy update, or homeless strategy division update.
Can I just say back on the community values real quick that the governance work group has identified a couple of recommendations about modifications to the community values that they want to bring to this group for consideration to then be incorporated into the list of community values that are in the new governance charter. We don't have governance work group members with us this morning, so we'll table that conversation, but we'll hope to bring that. I'm sorry, we have one governance work group member with us this morning. Do you want to speak to that, or do you want to wait until
I'd rather wait.
November? Yeah. Okay. Homeless strategy division updates. We wanted to share just a couple of things with you all that are mostly the result of a lot of work on the funding allocations work group part, and staff certainly, and community partners who have applied for federal funds for homeless and housing programs in our community. The 2023 Continuum of Care Consolidated application that you all approved at the September meeting was submitted September 26th. Just wanted to let you know that that did happen. I went on vacation immediately afterwards. It was lovely. But we did get that submitted. I don't anticipate that we'll get results from that for months to come. Usually that's early spring, late winter, early spring before HUD makes those announcements, but that process is complete for the moment. And then the Emergency Solutions Grant awards have been announced, and everything that was submitted based on what HIAC voted on, which was based on funding allocations work group recommendations, did receive full funding. So you can see on the screen there what those were. So those are projects that Helpmate, Homeward Bound, and Salvation Army. That total is just over $127,000 in our community for calendar year 2024. And I understand that the ESG office of the state is working on contracts with agencies right now. So that's a successful conclusion to that particular process this year.
ESG is state funds and COC is federal funds, am I
They're
right?
Sort of. They're both federal funds, but ESG comes to the state to administer. So the state is our primary relationship with ESG, and the state will contract with agencies. Other questions? All right. That's it for us.
Okay. Code Purple plan.
Great. Hopefully you all saw this in the meeting materials. There are a couple things about Code Purple that are in the meeting materials. One is the completed manual, so full details about the Code Purple plan are available in your packet. And this memo is just basic overview of kind of the highlights that I want to talk through to be sure that everybody's familiar with what that plan is for the coming season. And by coming season, I mean 3 days from now is when Code Purple will be available if the temperature criteria are met. So starting October 15th and running through April 30th this year. So really a great long Code Purple season. A lot of availability if the temperature gets cold. Background, I know you all are familiar with this, but Code Purple has been is a longstanding community initiative led by initiated by shelter providers, and in close partnership with the Homeless Coalition. In the pandemic, both the city and the county began providing dedicated funding for Code Purple, and so the funding allocations work group has looked at the request received for that Code Purple funding for the coming season, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We had a good planning process this year. We had a series of 4 meetings of folks who will be participating in Code Purple, meaning core shelter providers and associated service providers, so transit, for example, community paramedics, community responders, healthcare providers, and of course the Homeless Coalition leadership as they're a key partner in the operations of Code Purple. Highlights of the plan are, again, that Code Purple will be operational beginning October 15th, going through April 30th, and available as normal when the temperature is 32 or below, but also this year, an addition is that Code Purple will also be available when the temperature is 33 to 40 with precipitation. So that's an expanded definition of Code Purple. It's an expanded scope of service, should mean additional nights of shelter are available for folks when the temperature is cold and wet. Entry hours for Code Purple are 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at ABCCM and 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Salvation Army. And after hours entries can be facilitated by emergency responders. That's no change from the past. Again, no change from the past is that the Homeless Coalition leadership will call Code Purple based on the forecast on weather.gov. So same source of information for all parties who are interested in whether or not Code Purple will be happening. They'll be looking at weather.gov 48 hours in advance of the Code Purple event, and when the forecast shows 33 to 40 with precipitation, then the coalition will initiate communication with ABCCM and Salvation Army to make that determination about whether that will be a Code Purple night, and then they'll call that as normal. By call, I mean that the Homeless Coalition will initiate that communication to the community, and that'll be via their distribution list for folks in the community who might be watching, might not be familiar with this, anyone can be added to that distribution list. The email address to ask about that is on the screen there. And then when that email comes out, both the city and county will initiate additional communication, and I expect that service providers also initiate that communication, share that info with their folks that they're seeing that day so that people are aware. There is also, I don't think this is listed in the memo, but another improvement an operational improvement this year is that ABCCM will host a dedicated phone line for Code Purple, so there will be a recorded message for people to call to find out whether or not Code Purple is happening. That's like your walk-up music. I'm talking about your recorded message as you come in. So that's a great addition, great way for people to be able to get that information about whether or not Code Purple is on. And then lastly, locations are same locations from last year with ABCCM, so that's Veterans Restoration Quarters and Transformation Village. And new this year is 16 beds at Salvation Army. There's some plus signs there because there's some capacity to scale up if needed. Best example of this is that extremely cold weather that we had last Christmas when everyone's pipes froze. And ABCCM in that situation was able to host a number of people beyond that 50 beds at the VRQ just to be sure that people can come inside and be safe. So
we actually doubled our capacity for that, so.
mm-hmm. Lastly, transit, again, same as in prior years, ART will provide free transit to Code Purple locations. Hospital will provide taxi vouchers for people who are leaving the hospital if needed, if they can't access transit, public transit. Community paramedics and community responders can transport after hours or if other options aren't available. And ABCCM will be providing shuttle service from Crisis Ministry downtown and also from the bus stop near Transformation Village. So overall, I think we've got a really great plan. I think we've got a lot of capacity. We've got really great partners in Code Purple this year. And we're just 3 days away from Code Purple being available. So just wanted to give you all, and also the community, the overview of that. The Homeless Coalition discussed this at their meeting on Tuesday. The manual will be distributed. It'll be on the city's website. The Homeless Coalition will share it out. It's in your meeting materials. So I really want to be sure that folks are aware of what those options are and can get that word out so that people are able to access those shelter beds. So any addition that anyone, I know Lacey was part of that planning process. Tim obviously is key partner in this. Anything you all want to add?
We're ready to go.
That's great.
So.
Great. We also have Salvation Army in the room. I just want to say thanks to them for participating in this. This is a really important initiative in our community, and it's great to have their partnership.
Okay, we do now have a quorum, 8 of 14 members of the HIAC, so we are having an official meeting. And I want to jump back real quick and take a motion on the minutes, if everybody has had a chance to look at those. If I could get a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And then, it looks like we have a vote on Code Purple funding brought by the Funding Allocations Work Group.
I have a question. When I was homeless, I participated in Code Purple at ABCCM. Am I still okay to vote on this? I have a strong bias for them.
You're okay to vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we know what it is?
I'll second. There's a motion to approve the funding for the Code Purple recommendations for ABCCM.
Can we
Thank you, Tim,
just
for the question.
say what the recommendations are real quick?
To fund their application as stated, we did not have any recommendations or changes
Okay, so it was ABCCM and what dollar amount?
for the $100,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
And then I guess Tim will.
Yeah, I'll need to abstain, yes.
Is there, first, before we vote on it, is there a motion to allow Tim to recuse from this vote?
Make a motion to allow the recusal.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, back to the motion to approve. We have a motion and a second.
I think we actually ended up with a third. We have Celeste and Sarah and Marcus, so.
Who wants to be it? Okay. Okay, so are we ready to vote? Any discussion on the funding? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approved unanimously. Work group follow-up, coordinated entry. Marcus?
Yes, so, at the last meeting,
Hold the mic down a little bit.
at our last meeting, we were looking to get approval for a subcommittee for the coordinated entry work group. Our recommendations were to keep key members that have already been a part of that. So that would be myself. Recommend that Jerry Kimbrough, Sarah Dickerson, and Paige Weber be appointed as community members. We also have Lacey Hoyle, who would be a part of that cohort. And that subcommittee would be charged with making sure that we go into the areas of coordinated entry that are needed and would be responsible for conducting work sessions around coordinated entry. Specifically, we worked on access, looking at examples from Orange County to have a hybrid model that would allow us to have a call-in center as well as multiple insight locations where folks can have assessment as well as referrals made out to community resources. We did look at our assessment. We have not yet completed a replacement of the VI SPDAT, but we have looked at examples of balance of state, recently piloted assessments, and we recognize the need to make sure that any assessment that's created in this community is fully vetted academically as well as through the community, and make sure that we have community support. And for referrals, we are still looking to make sure that we have all community agencies that have been identified on board. Once those areas are finalized, then we can, we looked at prioritization before referrals. We did make specific changes to rapid rehousing around domestic violence, as well as our community rapid rehousing. And once we have those areas finalized, then our referral system, we would be able to kind of match referrals based on access, assessment, and prioritization to make sure that we have true housing interventions for the right people at the right time. So I believe the motion that we would be looking for is to have that subcommittee appointed.
We haven't done it yet.
No, we have not.
And who will be on that subcommittee?
That subcommittee would, yes, it would be the appointment of Jerry Kimbrough, Sarah Dickerson, and Paige Weber. Myself as chair. And did we identify the other two members?
If I can speak to the just process for a minute, in the current bylaws for HIAC, a subcommittee is at least 3 HIAC members and no more than 3 community members, or non-HIAC members. So this is the work group making a recommendation about who those 3 community members might be, and then also recommending that Marcus and Lacey continue as participants in that coordinated entry work group that they carry forward into the potential new subcommittee, and then Hayek would need to identify an additional Hayek member to participate in that subcommittee.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this subcommittee?
I make a motion to approve the subcommittee members as suggested with Marcus as chair.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you want to talk about an additional Hayek member to join that, to be the third Hayek member there? Or do you want to
Do we have any volunteers?
realize you're a small group today?
I think
You
we
might
can
wanna do
leave
that next month.
open. Yeah. Governance. Are you going to be Lance Crawford today?
I'm happy to share the governance work group update. The governance work group has done a lot of work and has worked really closely with our technical assistance provider from HUD in developing the draft charter for the new configuration of the continuum of care. You all saw that chart, Lance has presented, Rick presented prior to that, the last couple of months at HIAC. So last month, Lance presented the draft charter, opened that opportunity for feedback from you all. We did receive some feedback. The work group has incorporated that and has a final draft included in meeting materials for today. So the work group is looking for 2 action items today, and again, Lacey can jump in on and if she wants to add to any of this along the way, but our other work group folks are not present. Work group is looking for 2 actions. One is to consider endorsing the final draft charter, so note that this is endorsing and not approving. And the other is consider authorizing the work group to initiate the nominating and membership committee that's described in that draft charter. The guidance that we've gotten from our HUD technical assistance provider is that the arc of action on this would be to first create that continuum of care membership body. So you'll recall that we got a recommendation that we need to formalize that continuum of care membership body, and that body should be made up of stakeholders, of folks across our community, including you all, but not only you all, so a wide range of people to participate in efforts to resolve homelessness. That continuum of care membership body, once established, should be the body to vote on adopting the charter to initiate the new structure, and would also be the body to elect the new board. And so what our technical assistance provider has recommended is that the governance work group continue to be a leadership group in this process, and that they present that final draft charter to you all for consideration for endorsement. So again, this is just you providing sort of formal feedback that this is a positive direction as the governance function transitions from this board to a new structure. And then also looking for authorization to initiate that nominating and membership committee that would then work on building that continuum of care membership base with a view towards pursuing that new membership body, which we hope you will all be part of, pursuing that new membership body, voting to adopt the new governance charter.
I had a couple of questions. What's the difference between community responder and community paramedics? Are community responder fire?
Yep.
Okay. And when would they respond versus the paramedics?
The community responders are out and about 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Every day, and are sort of proactively engaging with folks. They're operating very similar to street outreach, I would say, but they also have that EMT component.
And then what does PSH stand for?
Permanent supportive housing.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion to endorse the final draft charter?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? As we are not officially adopting it, but as the HIAC, we are giving it our nod of approval, I guess, to move forward. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then this is an action by the HIAC because it's a HIAC work group. But do I have a motion to authorize the governance work group to initiate a nominating and membership committee for the new governing charter?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything else needed on that? Okay.
So I'll just say, obviously, more to come from the governance work group as this continues to go forward.
The outreach and encampment response, any further?
There's no real update. We haven't met. We do kind of still intend to have one more meeting just to talk about the next steps and whether or not we want to keep meeting on outreach while we wait on the governance committee and the new standing committees to be formed. But I think we submitted the work that we wanted to last month at the HIAC. So.
Stay tuned. Shelter, we submitted our recommendations to the city and county. I can't remember if this had already happened at the last meeting, but the city and county have approved funding for interim low barrier shelters, 2 proposals, one from the Salvation Army and one from the Safe Shelter Group and a coalition of churches. And Haywood Street congregation for some respite beds. We also recommended to the city and county that they pursue a long-term low barrier shelter development option, and I understand that there's some work beginning on that at the county staff level. We're not asking at this point that the shelter work group be extended or reconstituted, but I do plan to be involved in those discussions, and I've asked Jamie Benshoff and Rick Freeman to participate informally in those initial discussions. And then I think as we get into the new governance charter, we probably will need to establish a new subcommittee at that point to take this forward. Any questions about that? All right. So, joint city-county work session on homelessness.
I included this on the agenda, just wanted to make you all aware, wanted to make folks in the community aware that that City Council and County Commission will hold a joint work session on homelessness on November 16th, 9 a.m. to noon. It'll be at the Harris-Cherokee Center. The origin of this is that, as you recall, you were all there, the joint city-county meeting in January where our community really heard recommendations from the Alliance at the conclusion of that project with them on unsheltered homelessness. This meeting is intended to provide an update to elected officials as well as the community about progress that's been made on implementing those recommendations. Much of that progress has come from this body. So I expect that we will want to make sure that there is opportunity for you all to provide updates to the city and the county and the community on what that has looked like, and also where we go from here. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to share the vision and that is detailed in the new charter for the continuum of care, so that so our community can really understand, the city and the county can both really understand how we can best work together based on the recommendations that we got from the Alliance and then the technical assistance that we've had from HUD in reconfiguring our continuum of care. certainly more to come on that, but wanted to be sure that meeting is on your radar, and hope that you will all be able to participate in that.
Anything else? Any questions about that? In my shelter report, I neglected to mention that Lacey Hoyle, who's a member here, is going to have a deep role in her county staff responsibilities, and looking forward toward that, planning for that low barrier shelter. So HIAC membership, we have 3 terms expiring on November 1st. Sarah Copley, Celeste Ordaway, and Elvia Diaz. So first of all, many thanks to those folks for their work so far, and if this is the end for their work in the past for this committee. I think everybody on that list has been extremely valuable to our process, so thank you. Sarah, my understanding is you do not wish to continue, or is that correct?
I'm here in a professional capacity, and my board has another assignment, and so that starts at the end of October, so it's not a matter of wishing, I just have limited amount of hours.
Limited
but it's been a great 3
availability.
years. It's really informed a lot of the foundation's funding, and it's been a good education for us also.
Well, we hope you won't disappear.
Nope.
On the funding front.
No,
anyway, so.
I sure won't. I'll be watching all the developments, particularly the reconstituted COC. I think it's really exciting. Great work, everyone. It's been a lot in 2023, so thanks.
Thanks. Celeste, are you interested in being reappointed? I hope.
I am at the will of the board.
So that's going to be up to, I can't remember if you're a city or a county appointee, probably county. Should we vote on that, or do we need to make a recommendation to the county to
I think a formal recommendation would be helpful.
All right. Do we have well, Elvia is ending her 2nd term. I'm sad that she's not here today to say thank you to her. But at the end of 2 terms, we're not eligible for reappointment. So we have 1 person today who is eligible for reappointment, and that's Celeste Ordaway. Do we have a motion to recommend that to the appropriate body? To the city council.
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The other notification that we got is resignation from Dustin Mailman. So his time has ended on and we certainly thank him for the work that he's done as a member of the HIAC as well. I think with the transition very soon to the new governing board, I don't know that we need to talk about filling any of those roles. We can let this, as long as everybody doesn't quit all at one time, we'll carry on through. So, any other business, or questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
I take the bus, and this morning at the bus stop, there was a woman, and she had spent the night at the bus stop. And even with all my information, everything I asked her that she had checked into as options, the shelters were full. She didn't have any place else to go. The only thing I could think of to do at that time of morning was to exchange phone numbers in case something did come up. But it was just a deep reminder that the need is there.
I'm sure it's in our materials, but do we have a 1-page handout that we could all carry with us if we run into somebody, at least related to Code Purple shelter for the winter? let's make sure we get that.
I know Elliot
involved.
was really interested in the card with the call center number for Code Purple at our allocations meetings. I don't know where that ended up. I know the Homeless Coalition was working on that also.
Does 211, aren't they a part of the service providers who can help?
I am not aware that there is yet a one-pager on Code Purple options, but we can pass that on to the coalition, see if that's something that they want to pursue. At the moment, the written material is just the manual, which is not exactly what you want to carry around and hand out. That's cumbersome. But we can pass that feedback back to them.
The summary that you just went through a few minutes ago with a couple of phone numbers on there would probably work in the meantime. If we can. All right, any public comment today?
If it's okay, I just wanted to announce an event that's occurring next Tuesday. The Pisgah Legal is hosting the Justice Forum, and Matthew Desmond will be the keynote speaker. He wrote a book called Evicted a few years ago and has a new book that was published this year about poverty in America. And it is free. It will be at 7 p.m. next Tuesday at UNCA, Kimmel Arena. And there are also ways to watch online. So I just wanted to make people here aware of that.
I wanted to mention, I just got an email asking about how to sign up for the city-county joint work session in November. So just wanted to clarify, state clearly that this is a public meeting, open to the public. All of the meeting materials will be published in advance, just like any city council or county commissioner meeting. So no need to take any particular action except, look for that information. But public meeting, certainly hope that members of the public will participate in this.
Any other announcements? All right, our next meeting is November 9th at 9 a.m. Let me do the quick math. We are down to 14 members as of today, and we'll be down to 12 as of the 9th, so assuming that Celeste is reappointed. So we're going to need at least 7 of us to be here for a quorum, so let's make sure that we're committed to make that happen. All right, any other comments? Thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Hey, Kim, did you play